dramatization.
After a car wreck, you may have to fight with a highly trained insurance company rep whose job is to knock your damage claim down and out. It's a bad idea to enter the ring alone against a trained boxer, and it could be a bad idea to fight against a big insurance company by yourself. When the bell rings, attorney Dennis Sperling will be there to fight for your rights. If you've been seriously injured in a car wreck, call me, attorney Dennis Sperling, at 866-529-2444. That's 866-529-2444.
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Dennis Sperling, and I am back again to have a very interesting discussion.
They're not the thugs. The real thugs, they're kind of quiet. The ones that act tough like that, they mama raised them. They probably still live at home with their mama. Some of them still pee in the bed.
That's true.
That jail time they did, that wasn't for a felony, a hard crime. That was because they didn't pay their child support and they got traffic tickets. And they just went to jail. So look, and here's the thing. A lot of these fake thugs are being exposed. You guys are not that tough. You know, and when I get a guy like these multimillionaire guys, and you guys are basketball players, football players too. You running around here talking tough. You got tattoos all up your neck. You know, man, you just making all black men look bad. You're making it bad for all of us.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App. Make sure you contribute to the PayPal. Make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.
She gonna try to hit him. You see what I'm saying? And he's making over six figures a year. She's gonna work it. You see what I'm saying? If he had just contacted me about a month or two earlier, we could have set it up. But she already had that plan in place. I don't think they understand, Mr. Palmer, that they underestimate the cunning of these women. They confuse the beauty and the guilt trip. They think what's wrong with him, man? Why can't I?
Here's the thing. The worst thing that we as men ever did was underestimate them. You cannot even a baby mama tells you can't underestimate them because they got exit plans years in advance.
Yeah.
And when it comes to going to court, just like I heard you say, no mercy, no pity. You cannot put your feelings in the midst of that. Well, that's my baby mama, and we got years, and that's my son's mama. No mercy, no pity. Like I said yesterday, if she on life support, you take your child and file for emergency custody.
My name is Dennis Sperling. If you've been involved in an accident, call me, and I'll fight for you. I'm not an actor or a celebrity spokesperson. I'm a real trial lawyer, and I'll appear before real judges and real juries on behalf of people with serious injuries. So when I say I'll fight for you, I mean it, and I'll back it up. If you've been hurt in an automobile or 18-wheeler accident, contact me toll-free at 866-529-2444, and I'll fight for your rights.
Without further ado, here's the thing. Dr. Umar Johnson is a brilliant man and has finally come to, and he, like many of us, have finally come to the conclusion that most black men who have separated from the black community have figured out that it is black. What they figured out is that it's the treatment that they received while they were under the authority of the black community that triggered and caused for them to want to move. The problem is he has hope that the conflict can be resolved. I don't. I will tell you why. First of all, black boys don't like their black moms. And it's not that they don't love their moms. You can love someone and not like their behavior. I don't have any doubt that you black men love your mom. No, you love your mom. You just don't like some of the things you saw growing up. And that's why you don't like your mom. You love her, but you don't like her. That's pretty much, that's the quagmire that many brothers in. The lovely ladies are not following the lead of black men. They're following the lead of the dominant society, a society that seeks to destroy black men and black women and the black family, which is the cornerstone of black society. And that's why we are where we are.
The black manosphere is taking steps forward. We are not only setting a precedent for what should be the relationship discussions between Black folks. But now we're in a situation where, you know, the gate is wide open and you got gatekeepers who are trying to keep this thing under wraps. Because see what happens if the political gatekeepers can no longer sway the Black population to do what they want to do, then they become irrelevant. They're no longer useful. They get eliminated. You know, they get to go home, they get a free bus ride back to the house, and the party's over. And so, you know, it's incumbent upon them to make sure that Black folks still remain beholden to one party group or another. Now,
was the least of the bad. Don't forget the 91, the 87, the 81, the 79, and the 77. That 81 is the one that said one rock gets you 5 years in a federal penitentiary. And don't forget, one of the adjuncts to that was they ended federal probation and parole for adults. And what happens is that if you get a 5-year sentence, that's 60 months, and you wind up being in federal custody under their control for 56 to 58 of those 60 months. They need to do something to keep these constituencies active supporters. We get nothing. We're just in this habit of plantation mentality. That's our team, so we have to vote that way.
So are you saying, so is Judge Brown saying that some Black people or all Black people or enough Black people should begin to vote for the mean old nasty Republican Party?
Well, here's what I'm saying. Here's how it works. Every now and then, if you aren't getting anything, even if you have to hold your nose, vote for the opposition, because it can't get any worse than it is now.
Yeah.
So vote for the opposition, so the people that have been counting on you go, oh, wait a minute, we got to do something to bring them back. And
I share your opinion.
Says, wow, look what we got. We need to give them something to bring more of them over. And what you need to do is become independent.
Right.
And vote issues and candidates, not parties.
You know, Judge, I share your opinion that Joe Biden is a racist, and it's because of his history of voting. Now, a lot of people say, well, Trump's a racist. I said, well, yeah, he might be, but Joe Biden ain't no better. So I'm going to vote for the person who has my interest in heart, and not because, and I'm not just totally aligned with one party or another. I think, is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I will scream and I will holler. Then I'll scream and holler some more, saying absolutely nothing.
You have a choice in legal representation. And in making that choice, do you want an attorney with a made-for-TV nickname to represent you in your serious car wreck claim?
I will growl, kick, and scream.
My name is Dennis Sperling. If you've been involved in a motor vehicle accident, contact me toll-free at 866-529-2444. The choice is yours. Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App, make sure you contribute to the PayPal, make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Dennis Sperling. I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is. Yeah, if you've been hurt in a car accident, then call my daddy. No need to scream and yell like a little kid. Yeah, no yelling. My daddy will fight for your rights. Yeah, fight for your rights. If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy, returning Dennis Sperling.
Hello, I'm attorney Dennis Sperling. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy, daddy.
The only time black men are allowed to speak is when it benefits others. So hey, this is your opportunity to speak. I want to hear from you. And if you want to make this voice louder and clearer, then what you need to do is contribute to the Cash App, the PayPal, and the Super Chat. I appreciate you.
What's up, you guys? This is Dennis Sperling, and I'm coming back to you guys again on this beautiful day. I want to thank everybody for acknowledging me on my birthday. But, you know, this work that I'm doing is more important than me as an individual. And that's why I've taken time out of this day, which should be reserved for, I guess, my family to celebrate my life, to talk to you brothers, because I understand that, you know, every day is important. And I hate the fact that sometimes I myself even need a break. And so, you know, but I've taken these days, the Sabbath, the holy days, to talk to you guys about God's word and how it relates to you, because I feel like that's important. And when I say to God's word, I acknowledge all the other faiths and religions, Judaism, Islam, all of those, but I myself am a Christian. And I pretty much take all of my lessons out of the Holy Bible, you know, and I know that many of you have become disgruntled with the Holy Bible, you know, disgruntled with the word as written in the Holy Bible, because, you know, you've had teachers who've taken advantage of your mothers and your aunties, and they simply fleeced the community for money, and then taken that money and then done what with it, made themselves rich, you know. But I don't consider this a church. I'm not your leader. I am simply a pathfinder. I'm simply giving you all the benefit of the path that I follow in life and how it's gotten me to where I am. Now, this message that I'm giving to you today is one, personal to me, and it's personal to you all too, because many of you all have had to deal with the same thing. And the question, right, that I have for you all is, if they knew who you were going to be when you grew up, would they have treated you better when you were a child? Many of you have suffered from emotional trauma, physical abuse, domestic abuse. You grew up in violent urban inner cities where you were targeted by both Black men who were members of criminal elements, and you were targeted by white men and sometimes Black men who were part of law enforcement. And so because of that, you were treated in a way that left you scarred. And I'm referring to my Black brothers here, specifically my Black American brothers, who this page is geared to. It's geared to allow you all to speak for yourselves, but also, because I'm an attorney, because I have television shows, because I'm a reputable member of the community, people will listen to me. And so by listening to me and adhering to what's going on this page and listening, they learn your stories also. Recently, DMX passed away. His sister Roxanne Shante, his sister in rap, reminded us of how much he suffered as a small child. He was apparently abandoned by his mother, left to live in a foster home. He also was forced to fight. Apparently the same thing happened to his sister. She mentions at the end of her soliloquy that at least people he said if people had known who he would grow up to be, they probably wouldn't have treated him this way. And this lesson carries over to many of you young men in your lives. Many of the people who mistreated you, abandoned you, disrespected you, or cast you out would not have treated you that way as a small boy or a young child or a teenager if they know who you would grow up to be. So I myself am one of those people. Growing up in South Central LA and being born to a mother who did not want to have me, she was willing to give me away to a man who was not my real father, a man who she knew wasn't my real father, and a man who knew that I wasn't his biological son. Basically, she had gotten pregnant by another man and decided that that man was not someone that she wanted to father the child, i.e. father, yes, in the sense of biologically, but not in the sense of raising. He was an immigrant man from the Caribbean. My adopted father, on the other hand, was a law student at the time at UCLA. And so because of that, my mother decided, and he decided that, you know, they would basically take me and shield me away from my biological father. Now, of course, when you have a relationship that's predicated on a lie, it is destined to fail. And so I understand that because of that lie that was told to me and told to everybody around us at the time, you know, the bonds built were not built on love and truth, but they were built on lies and deceit. And so that relationship was destined to fail. Lo and behold, by the age of 10 years old, it became too difficult for this man, my biological father, to maintain me in his home because he had become married to a woman and she had brothers living with her. And, you know, at a certain point, I am absolutely certain that this woman knew or had a strong inclination that I was not this man's son, because at 10 years old, I was nearly as tall as this man. And although we share a similar complexion, we just are different. And so, you know, I was mistreated in his home. I was disrespected. I was cast out. There was some racism going on because his wife was a white Hispanic woman from Puerto Rico. He was a black man, of course, but I was mistreated by them. And I understand the tension. I was basically sent off to live in another state with people who were not my family. And so basically the field was fertile for me to be mistreated. Now I'm in that state. I'm in that very city where I was shipped off to, away from my mother's biological family. And it's difficult for them because here I am, the man about town, so to speak. Here I am, a prominent attorney, even more so than my adopted father. Come on back there. Come here. Come say hi. This is my children. I want you all to meet my son. This is Roman.
Hello.
And this is Dennis, my oldest is Roman. This is Dennis, my oldest boy.
Hello.
I was just telling them the story about how Daddy was given away when he was a little boy.
Oh.
And I was trying to explain to them that oftentimes people will treat you bad as a child, but and then they'll regret it when you become a man, because see, people don't know who you're going to be.
Yeah.
And that's why even with you guys, I treat you with respect, because there's an old saying that all tables turn. Have you ever heard of that before? No. What it means is what goes around comes around.
Oh.
And so you may mistreat a child and that child grows up to be somebody important. There's a story in the Bible of Joseph. Joseph had some brothers and his brothers sold him away to slavery because they were jealous of him, because his daddy loved him tremendously. He showed him some favoritism, you see? And so they sold him off into slavery, and they turned around. Years and years went by and the family was going broke, and he had worked himself up from being a slave to being the right-hand man of a very powerful man in Egypt. And then they had to come to him for help. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a rapper, his name is DMX. This is way before you guys' time, but he was around when I was about your age. Yeah, he passed away. And so he was abused as a child. You understand? He was treated badly. His mother dropped him off at a foster home and left. You see? Can you imagine what that did to him? Yeah, and there's similar things happen to Daddy, you know. And, you know, although I forgive everybody involved, because there's no need for me to hold grudges, because all that does is affect me. What I'm trying to point out to the people here today, because there's a lot of young men out here, a lot of these black men, they were mistreated as boys. They didn't have a daddy like me who protects them. You know how daddy gets when somebody gives you a hard time, right?
Yeah.
How did daddy act when somebody gives you a hard time at school?
You go to the principal about it.
And what about when somebody gives you a hard time at a family's house? You don't have to say names, but if somebody at a relative gives you, huh? But what does daddy do when I hear about how they treated you?
Get mad.
I get mad and then I also talk to them.
Yeah.
And so you know that you're protected by your father. You see?
Yeah.
How would it, remember when the man gave you a hard time in jiu-jitsu or his son said that thing to you? And what did daddy do?
You talked
spoke to
I talked to
the professor.
professor and you talked to him.
And I talked to the daddy straight up, man to man. And so you feel protected, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. And so how would you feel if your daddy never did anything to protect you? What would you think about your daddy? Weak. What else?
We wouldn't like it.
Huh?
We wouldn't like it.
You wouldn't like it. You wouldn't like me. You wouldn't respect me. You see?
Yeah.
So part of making sure that you are treated how you're supposed to be treated as a child is respecting, making sure others respect you. You see?
Yeah.
And so a lot of these young men, they didn't have protectors. They didn't have anybody. They basically were thrown out into the wolves. They grew up in bad neighborhoods. People abused them. People talked about it. They had to fend for themselves. All they had was a mother sometimes. And sometimes their mother was mean to them and called them names and was frustrated. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so now here they are having to deal with this. But guess what? Some of these men are like me. Some of these men have grown in wealth. They have money. They have property. Some of them are famous. Some of them grow up to become athletes. Some of them grow up to become famous rappers like DMX. And what do you think those people who treated them bad as children think now?
They wish they didn't.
Yeah.
They wish they didn't. Why?
Because now, like, their children don't like them.
But why do now you imagine if you were mean to a lion cub and then he grew up to be the lion of the area. What happens to you?
It comes back at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically, you've made I wouldn't say an enemy, but you've made an enemy out of a very powerful person who could help you or hurt you. You see?
Yeah.
And so the question that we have to ask ourselves is, would they have not treated us bad out of the kindness of their hearts because they knew we were going to grow up to be who we were going to be, or would they do it now out of fear? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So today I'm going to talk to them about this. But thank you, boys. I appreciate y'all. You see, thank you for my birthday presents.
Yeah.
All right, you guys go ahead and we're going to go eat a little bit later on, but I want to continue this Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys. Okay. Those are my children. And I even treat my own children with respect. Not because I fear who they'll be when they grow up, but because it's the right thing to do. Many of you didn't have that. Many of you were abused. Many of you were disrespected. Many of you were treated horribly as children by your parents, by strangers, by whomever. And so because of that, you have resentment. But here's the thing, fellas. Here's what you got to understand. Here's what I want you to understand. You are like the cornerstone that the builder rejected. You, like DMX, are the one that God chose. The Bible says this in Matthew 21:40 and 43. Therefore, when the owner of the vineyard comes, what will he do to those tenants? He will bring those wretches to the wretched end. They replied, and he will rent the vineyard to other tenants who will give him his share of the crop at the harvest time. Jesus said unto them, have you never read the scriptures? The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. The Lord has done this, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore, I tell you, the kingdom of God will be taken from you and given to a people who will produce its fruits. Here's what you got to understand, fellas. Despite the fact that those people who treated you badly as children, one of the laws of the universe or the word of God, however you choose it, it says the one that is despised and rejected and treated badly, that's the one that God chooses. It also follows that up in 1 Corinthians 28. 1 Corinthians 28.
which are despised hath God chosen, ye and things which are not, to bring things that are. What does that mean? It basically means the same thing. You're the cornerstone. Now, what is the cornerstone? You guys are like, Dennis, what are you talking about? Why is the cornerstone important? In relation to architecture, a cornerstone is traditionally the first stone laid for a structure, with all other stones laid in reference. So basically, it's the guide stone. It's the cornerstone. It's the one that everything else plays off of. A cornerstone marks the geographical location by orientation, a building a specific direction. This is given correlation to architecture and design of the time. What it's basically saying is you're the leader. You're the one that everybody else, the same one that they rejected. You're that one. Now the thing is, Jesus was a cornerstone. Why was he a cornerstone? Well, he was a living stone, and his followers as living stones actually look forward. So basically what they're saying, Jesus was rejected by his own people, and he became the cornerstone of Christianity. Just like DMX became the cornerstone, one of the cornerstones of hip hop. I want you guys to listen to this, and we're going to come back to it in a minute, this conversation, because this is important. See, you've been cast out. You've been disrespected. Your own family members have cut you off. 5, 6, 7. Some of you all were put out the house at 15, 16, 17 years old. You didn't have any backup, nobody you could turn to. And all you had was yourself and God. And so let's listen to this. I want you guys to hear this, with DMX's story. Let's hear a little bit about it.
Hey, let me tell you something. And this is one of the most serious things that I've ever said. Maybe even one of the most emotional and personal things that I've ever said. And it has to do with DMX, and it has to do with his passing. But not only his passing, but his childhood and what he has went through. What we had went through. Now, my relationship with DMX, we wasn't super close, but we had time enough to be able to talk to each other. And coming from similar backgrounds, there's certain things that I need y'all to understand. And this is not what somebody told me, this is what he said to me. He said, you know, when he was younger, his mom had took him to a children's home and said that they was just going to visit. And she left him there. She took him there and she left him there. And he was too little to be there, too little to understand how to defend himself, how to take care of himself and everything.
So imagine being a child where your own mother, now there's no mention of his father anywhere, but your own mother drops you off at a home somewhere, basically gets rid of you. Many of you have had the same situation. They drop you off at a relative's house and basically you're not even good enough to be with them. I know what you guys are going through, the feelings of abandonment you have, lack of empathy you have towards others because your life was so rough. DMX was the same one. He was cast out by his own mother. His own mother who gave birth to him cast him out. He himself was a cornerstone, like many of you. Let's continue to listen.
Anything else, but he did it, and he survived it. And we all have our ways of dealing with it. I've been through that system. I've been through that. I know what it's like when people think that adults don't care about children. I know what it's like to run the streets, sleep on the train, sleep in the hallways, try to sleep at friends' houses, have people tell you could come stay at their house and their brothers are trying to mess with you, or even their fathers and adults and uncles and shit. I know what it is like. And we all handle it differently. We all have our demons. When people would see me and say how angry I was, they didn't understand what I had endured and what I went through. And as soon as me and DMX came in contact with each other, as soon as me and Earl came in contact with each other, we already knew what was done to that spirit. And it makes you overly aggressive. It makes you seem angry to people.
Listen, because this is many of you guys. Listen.
It makes you seem mad to people. So people try to find whatever they can in order to overcome that. Some people turn to drugs, some people turn to drinking, some people turn to other things. People wonder why we give so much, the money that I make now, right? I give most of my money away.
Okay, she's doing a little,
I may be dealing with on the inside. Everybody is fighting their own fucking demons. So when I think about it right now, I think about the fact that when that certain amount of peace comes along, why do you think, let me tell you why Roxanne and Shantae don't drink or don't use drugs. You know why? Because I'm so afraid to find some fucking peace in it that I would never stop. I'm so afraid to find some fucking peace in it. I still now fight with going to sleep. When I'm up and I'm posting 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm not happy that I'm up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning posting, knowing that I got to start my day all over.
now she's doing a little virtue signaling. I wanted her to get to this point where she actually talks about DMX, but we'll go through with this.
Again. But that's because when you go through those systems and you go through that, you learn how not to sleep. You learn how not to sleep. So you up, and every time somebody shows you the least little amount of some type of deceit, or you catch somebody wrong, you so quick to let go, because you know that as soon as you let your guards down, as soon as you trust somebody, something bad can happen. Something really bad can happen. Because I've done it. To miss out on a childhood, and then people wonder why you make the mistakes you make. Yeah, I make mistakes all the time. And they say, oh, you probably suffer from arrested development. Oh, you probably have this, you probably have that. No, I went through some fucking shit too early in life. I went through it when I wasn't supposed to. That's what it was. I went through it when I wasn't supposed to. And it's just so hard when you see people saying mean things and doing mean things, and even when you online and people are posting and saying negative things and saying all this other foul shit, you learn to just see past it. You learn how not to you get a tough skin because of it. So my heart is hurting right now. But in a way, I know that he has found some fucking peace. I do. And I'm saying this right now because for all of us who have experienced it, for everybody that's been out there that has went through the foster care system and had a bad experience, because I'm not going to say all foster parents is bad, because I have a sister who's a foster care parent because she wanted to be one of the good ones. When you have been a check child, that means they take them and they take you in their house because they only want a fucking check. And then you go into this fucking hip hop field and they only fucking nice to you because you're a commodity and you making them some fucking money. It's like this cycle never fucking stops. It just never stops. Oh my God. So just know that there were people that were out here that were trying to help him, people that he could talk to, but nobody can fix what is unreachable inside of you. And it's just rough. And I just need to say that. So if you know a child and you see a child in foster care, or you see a child that's going through something, man, help them. Say something to their parents, do something, because you never know who that child is going to grow up to be. You never know who that child is going to grow up to touch. You never, ever know. You just don't know.
I want y'all to listen to that again. You never know who that child is going to grow up to be. You never know who that child is going to grow up to touch. You just never know. What I'm basically telling you guys is the same thing she's telling you. DMX They didn't know he was going to grow up to be the man he's going to be. Listen to that again.
Do something, man, to help them. Say something. Say something to their parents. You know, do something. Because it's so, you never know who that child is going to grow up to be. You never know who that child is going to grow up to touch. You never, ever know. You just don't know.
Amen. All right. So basically, fellas, that was Roxanne Shante, who's apparently a good friend of DMX, Dark Man X, for those of us who know a little bit more about hip hop and grew up in that area. But the cornerstone, that's what we're talking about this day. You living cornerstones out there. I want you to be hopeful. Even the great Bob Marley, and his had a song called The Cornerstone, the stone that the builder refused will always be the head cornerstone. The stone that the builder refused will always be the head cornerstone. You're a builder, baby. Here I am, a stone. You don't pick and refuse me, because the things people refuse are the things they choose. Do you hear me? Hear what I say. Stone that the builder refused will always be the headstone, and tell me why. So, you know, what I'm trying to explain to you fellas is that lack of peace that you have because you were rejected by your parents, because your mother treated you horribly, because you didn't have a father in your life. There's a reason why that happened. There's a reason why you were rejected. I have to believe that the Most High had a special plan for me. You have to believe that the Most High has a special plan for you. I speak so much about my own personal life because it is a testimony to God's power. I was born to a mother who did not want me, who, in her own words, has told me, even as a young boy, I did what I could by way of taking birth control pills while I was pregnant with you to try to cause an abortion. I contemplated going to the abortion clinic to try to abort you, to get rid of you. I then gave you away to a man who was not your father, that I knew was not your father, to raise you because I was not in a position to raise you. I wasn't prepared. I wanted to live my life. I too was a rejected stone, brothers. And I only tell you that because I know what I'm telling you is saving your life. I know the fact that you see me as a successful lawyer with beautiful children that travels all over the world, that makes beautiful music, that makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, beautiful home. You see me as a success. And so because of that, many of you say, I want to be like that. I want to be something like that. And what I'm telling you, brothers, is I was a rejected stone like many of you. And when I bare my soul to you guys, it's not because I'm humbly telling you my testimony in order to give you hope. I recognize that I was too one of God's favorites, just like many of you. See, you would not be here right now if you hadn't survived your childhood. You weren't raised, many of you. You merely survived your childhood. You survived. And so because you survived, here you are. You are now what? You're now one of God's chosen. You are one of God's cornerstones. And what does he do with the cornerstone? Listen to that. Which is despised hath God chosen. Yea, the things which are not, to bring to brought things that are. In other words, have hope. The lady said the reason that she doesn't use drugs or alcohol because she might find peace in it. She chose that. Unfortunately, DMX got addicted to, that was the only place he found peace. That was how he got away from that childhood, that rejection, all of which stems from that rejection and the hard life that came about afterwards. I understand. And I understand what many of you brothers are going through. But no, first of all, you're not the only one.
Now, you can either let it kill you, you can let it hold you back, or you can allow it to make you greater. What I've done is I've taken all of that and I've allowed it to make me greater than I would have been. Now, I look back and I say, man, if I had been raised with my biological father, his uncle, was a lieutenant governor of California at the time, Mervyn Diamond. I'm growing up in South Central LA. This man is a prominent politician. I'm basically descended from California political royalty. He probably could have wrote some letters and got me in some of the best schools in California. I might be a Stanford Law graduate at this point, a USC alumni, all that stuff that goes along with California royalty. But see, unfortunately, brothers, if I lived that life, I would not be able to relate to you. I would not be able to sit here and talk to you, brothers, on the level in which you can understand. See, I wouldn't be able to sit here and be this cornerstone that I am that can guide you, because I know what you dealt with. I know about the child abuse. I know about the gang life that you dealt with. I know about the drugs in the household. I know about the absentee Black mothers. I know about the absent Black fathers. I know about the abuse. I know about everything, the violence. I know about the hangups that go along with that, the feelings of rejection, loneliness, depression, thoughts of suicide, the feeling that you have a chip on your shoulder, nobody else understands. I understand what you Black men are going through. God put me through that so that I could be your cornerstone, those of you who choose to listen to me. And God also put you through that so you could be other people's cornerstone. That's why you're important. Don't look at what you dealt with as a child growing up in the Black community. Don't look at it as a tragedy. Look at it as a test. And if you're able to listen to me right now, and you have all your senses, and you have your able body, and you can recognize the truth in what I'm speaking is the same as your life, then recognize you too are a cornerstone. Recognize that not only can you accomplish what I've accomplished, but you can do better. That doesn't mean you have to travel the same path. No different than you have to build the same building. You go build your own building. You go build your own life. But you are special. Nobody would have put you through that sort of harshness if you didn't need to be strong for somebody. God has chosen you Black men. And I want you brothers to understand something. And I want this to be said and this to reverberate not just on YouTube, but anywhere that my name is mentioned. I do this for my Black American brothers. I got love for my West Indian brothers, my Afro-Latino brothers, my African brothers. I got love for everybody. But I do this right here. This is for my Black American brothers. And as long as you brothers are okay with what I do, as long as you Black men continue to support me, I'm going to keep doing it. I don't care what the sisterhood says, the lovely ladies, the white folks, or anybody. I do this for my Black brothers and sisters. That is what I am here to do. To speak life into you, to tell you the ones at the bottom, the Pookies, the Ray Rays, the ones that were abused, the ones that were cast out, the ones that were rejected, those of you who made it all the way through college and don't even get acknowledged by your family, those of you who have accomplished great things in the world and your own family rejects you, I accept you. I acknowledge you. And there are so many others of us that acknowledge you. I do this for my Black brothers, period. I'm not pro-Black, I'm pro my Black brothers, period. That's where I'm coming from. And if I can help get you to the point where at least I am, and hopefully beyond, that's why I'm doing this. I'm not here to make anybody angry. I'm just here to speak life into my brothers because nobody else is doing it. I love you, brothers, and I want to see you succeed. I want to see you do what it is God wants you to do. There's no way we'd have been tested and pushed and seized upon and thrashed and beaten and demoralized if God wasn't doing something with us. And those of you who even had it worse, most of the brothers are in spiritual lockdown. And then some of us are in ADSEG, administrative segregation. Those are the cornerstones. The ones of you who had it worse. Not just worse, but worse. Those are the ones I'm talking to right now. See, you are God's special men. You are the cornerstone. You're that cornerstone that the builder rejected. Your mothers rejected you. Your fathers won't acknowledge you. Your family, no matter what you do, they disrespect you. They don't treat you with any respect. You're the ones that God wants to use. And what is a cornerstone? Huh? What is a cornerstone? We talked about that. A cornerstone, the point where converging lines, edges or sides meet, angle B, the place of the intersection of two streets, of roads, a piece designed to form, mark, or protect a corner. Can a person be a corner? Jesus as the cornerstone. God has declared Christ the living cornerstone of a spiritual house made up of those redeemed by him, built upon the truth of the gospel and sustained by the power of his Holy Spirit. Those who trust Christ as Savior are this building, the church. Just like Jesus was the cornerstone of the church, there would be no Christianity if it wasn't for Jesus. You are the cornerstone of your life and everything you build. You are the reason why you are the reason that everything around you will be built upon. That's what I'm trying to explain to you folks. You're that cornerstone. It's the foundation stone. It's symbolic of Christ in reference to Christianity. But this is who you are, brothers. So don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. Don't dwell on those things. Don't be like Brother DMX, who he was so wrought with pain and was never able to get it out. He just killed himself with drugs, even at 50 years old. This is not something that goes away. Something that happened to you at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old stays with your entire life. But what I'm telling you, brothers, or what I'm asking you, brothers, to do is recognize who you are. You are that cornerstone. Just like DMX, millions of people, I say tens of millions of people have listened to him. He influenced people his whole life. He was a cornerstone. But he allowed that to destroy him, his past, instead of recognizing it for what it is. It was there to make you strong, brother. That hardship that you had to endure, that woman that gave birth to you, that gave you away, DMX, she was only doing what God wanted her to do. That's not your parent that you need to be concerned about. The only parent any of you black men need to be concerned about is your Father who art in heaven. The rest of these people, there's just your earthly father and your earthly mother. At some point, they won't even be your father anymore. They'll just be your brothers and sisters. And we'll all be waiting for our Father to come down and take us home. That's how you have to see things. I tell my own sons that I am merely your earthly father. Do not let my limitations or my mistakes hold you back. You are boundless like your Father who art in heaven. And that's what you brothers need to do. See, we have gotten away from our connection to the Most High. Christian, Hebrew, Israelite, Jewish, whatever you are, brothers, Muslim, whatever you are. At some point, it all converges at the top. I had a conversation yesterday with a master teacher of martial arts. Man has 8th degree black belt in Kempo karate, certified to teach Kung Fu, Jiu-Jitsu. And I said, when I was working on my PhD over at Texas Southern, I was working on my PhD in environmental molecular toxicology, or PhD in environmental policy, and my master's degree in biology. And I said, I noticed, sir, his name is Sifu, teacher, C-Gun, which means the teacher's teacher, basically, because he has people that he's been teaching so long, has mastered his art, that he has teachers that teach that he taught. that were his students. So he's a seagull. But even he has a master. I said, I noticed in martial arts, at a certain point, even the strikers have to learn grappling. And the grapplers have to learn striking at a certain point. He said, you know, you're very intelligent. You're very smart. I said, you're right. A lot of people go about it a different way. He says the Shaolin Temple, they start kids off young, make them run up mountains, doing a lot of physical fitness because they feel like they have to be physically fit before they can learn martial arts. Some people, they have the children, they have some martial arts where they teach them how to meditate and get their mind right, just so they can then begin to teach them martial arts. And then when you learn martial arts, you learn you learn Kung Fu and you learn this, but at some point you have to do grappling. He said, as a matter of fact, it was the Japanese who separated them into different sections. In other words, the spears, the swords, the different, the kicking, the grappling, they separated it out. But the Chinese, where martial arts started, they didn't separate it. They just all considered it one art. And so what I'm telling you, at a certain point, you all reach the same place, whether you're a Muslim, a Christian, a Buddhist. The higher you get, the closer you get to that place of peace, the closer you get to the Most High, it's all the same, because you all end up in the same place, period. I don't care what anybody says. And if they don't like it, they can come and try and debate me. I don't care. At a certain point, fellas, you got to get your connection with God, whether that be Muslim, Christianity, whatever it is, you got to get your connection with God. We as Black men survived all perils that we survived over the past 500 years because of our connection with the Most High. And when you get reconnected with the Most High, when you get reconnected with God, you will realize, oh, now I understand what Dennis was talking about. That poor woman that gave birth to me, she's just a vessel that I passed through. Like the ship that got you from one land to the next. What you do when you get off the ship, you're not mad at the ship because it was a bumpy ride. It was just a ship. It was just designed to get you from one place to get you from not here to birth to here. That was it. That's all that ship owed you. Your mother is just a ship. So treat her like she was a ship. Forgive her. It's no need to forgive her either. Just move on, because it was just a ship. There was nothing she could do. Period. She got you here. You're a God's child. You're the cornerstone. You need to fulfill your destiny. And if you keep worrying about what would happen to you in the past, brother, what's going to happen? You're going to end up like DMX. You're going to be searching for peace from drugs and alcohol and sex, you know, and money and material things, as opposed to looking for peace in the Most High and peace in the goal that the Most High has for you. I always talk to you guys about your purpose. Many of you who are cornerstones, your purpose is great and grand. You're one of God's chosen. Not that you're the only one, but the vast majority of you Black men who had it that hard, you are his chosen. You are his chosen. You are his cornerstone. And he intends to build with you. Why? Because I can look at the Bible and the Bible can tell me that. Those of you who are rejected. Who's the most rejected men in this country? Who's the most despised men in this country? Who are the ones that as Corinthians said, which are despised? Who are the most despised men in this country? It's not the white man. It's not the Black man. It's definitely not the Asian man. It's the Black man, even if he got a little piece of black in him. Half Black, 3/4 Black. You are the most despised. You are the ones that's rejected. And you are the ones that God has chosen. This ain't all of us. This ain't all of us. No, you Black men in America, you are the ones that God chose. You are the most despised. Period. Recognize your purpose. Recognize who you are. Recognize you're the stone that the builder rejected. And you have become the cornerstone. Who else in this world drives the trends and the traditions? Who else in this world drives even the songs and the lyrics that people are listening to all across the world? Who else drives how people speak? A sense of style, how people walk, who they want to be when they grow up. Who? You, black man. No matter what they do, no matter what they say, the rest of the world looks to you because you're the cornerstone. They want to walk like you. They want to talk like you. They want to use your language. If you now by contrast, because I know there's some lovely ladies in here, whereas all the men in the world want to be like Mike, whether it's Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson back in the day. Don't nobody want to be like black women. None of those women want to be like black women, period. So it's not a black thing. It's a black man thing. You are the cornerstones, brothers. You are the cornerstones. You are the ones that they rejected. And no matter how much they rejected, the Lord keeps on choosing you. And you got to recognize that blessed position that you're in. I love you, brothers. God bless you. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and let some brothers come in. We're going to hear some testimonies. I appreciate you, brothers. I love you. Let's hang in there for a minute. We'll be right back. Make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. In addition to that, I want you gentlemen to join my membership page. Join my membership page. I want to see those icons that I put up there, man. I want to see some Shaka Zulus. I want to see some General Hannibal. I want to see Mansa Musa. Put all those up. But in the meantime, kick back and I'll put the link in the chat room if any of you guys want to come in and chop it up with me on this Sunday afternoon. Come on in. All right, you guys, we're back. I hope you all enjoy the music. Man, Fireman, Uncle D spitting bars. Yeah, man, you know, back in the day, man, you know, I, like many of you all, you know, I had a lot to say, and I did it in a productive way. I wrote it down in song. And if you want to check out my catalog of music, you're welcome to check it out. It's, you can go to Demond at Spotify. You can also check it out on Esquire Entertainment. You can go there, and all my music videos are on Esquire Entertainment. So y'all check that out. I'll show you. It's real easy to get to. Just type in, go to YouTube, right? You can go up here to the section that allows you to, let me see. Go here to where it says search. Real easy. All the music videos you guys see, Esquire Entertainment. And just type that in. It's real easy. And what will happen is this logo will pop up. It's the same one you guys see. And then all the songs will come out. So I have about 30 music videos up there. And all of them, for the most part, produced by Beans and Cornbread. And that's it. So all the songs are right there, man. You can watch them if you like it. I got some stuff in there. I got some continuous play. I think I might do that too. I might let some of the songs that are up here just play continuously sometimes, but for the most part, everything's up there. If you guys want to listen to it, check it out. I only have like 130 followers on there, but you know, this is my reservoir here. Songs you guys in here, Fly Away, I just uploaded that 4 weeks ago, and then 8 more 2 weeks ago. Moving On 2 weeks ago, and then Twerk Music. I don't play that too much. But Coffee King International, the entire song, the entire album is here, so you can just basically play this thing continuously if you like that album. It's a real smooth album, man. So I'll just for your convenience, I'll put the link to it right there for you guys. That's actually back 3 years ago in 2018. I put that up. But if you guys appreciate what I'm doing here, if you like this message,
hit the number 1 button and let me know you appreciate what I'm doing. If you like what I'm doing, hit the number 1 button. That's let me know you appreciate the conversations that I'm having here, because I try to give you something hopeful. I don't want to always just drag you down with depressing news. If you appreciate this message and you appreciate the way I rooted in something as ancient as the Holy Bible, something you can go back and look at for yourself, just hit the number 1 button. That's it. Just hit, that lets me know. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to the Central Entities. Thank you for being one of my members here. I'd like for you guys to join the membership. I would like for you guys to hit the join button on my page and become a member of Dennis Sterling Unfiltered. It's real simple. All you have to do is just go to that section right there where it says join. Let me give you some help. Real easy. Go right here. See that where it says join? Click the join button. Click the join button, join the page. That's what I'd like for you guys to do for me. If you want to, that's my birthday present. If you guys want to give me a shout out, birthday, join the membership. I'm going to start putting up some stuff there. I'm going to start answering questions that I really can't answer here. Because I think there's some privilege associated with membership. But in the meantime, I want to talk to my brother Afro Patriarch. How are you doing today? What are your thoughts on this? I'm
doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. So if they knew who you want to be as a child, they would have treated you better. That's the theme today. And I'm trying to explain to them what a cornerstone is. And the cornerstone is the one that the cornerstone, the stone that the builder rejected is going to be the cornerstone. That's the one God chose. And that has been something that's been replete throughout history. What are your and biblical history? What are your thoughts on this thing? How do we talk to them? The floor is yours, bro.
The cornerstone. I was still gathering my thoughts on what I wanted to say. From my personal experience as someone who's been kind of, in a way, used in my youth, used in a way of, how do I explain it, man? Because, my father died when I was 10.
Right.
So I had to step notice, I had to step up. And I didn't really have, around 11, I didn't really have a normal childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also I was still dealing with depression.
Yeah.
So on top of that, I was being maligned as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me a while for me to find my footing mentally, emotionally. And it took me all the way into my late 20s.
Yeah. So, and oftentimes what will happen, brother, is when you're dealing with that, you will try to heal that pain with alcohol, sex, food.
Yeah.
What else? Some people will overwork. Some people will over-exercise. There's a lot of things we try to do to fulfill that. But once you find peace and you realize, oh, this happened. This happened because it made me stronger. It made me more astute. See, a lot of you brothers are still living when a lot of other people, had they gone through the same thing that you've gone through, they'd have killed themselves by now.
Yeah.
Or they'd have found a way to kill themselves if they didn't have to pull the trigger or do themselves in.
Mhm.
And so you are here for a reason. You are here because you're strong. You withstood the test. But instead of seeing what you had as a blessing and a test, you see it as an anchor. And it's all really in the perspective of how you see things. It's really all in your perspective on life, your attitude, so to speak. It's your attitude, how you see things. You see what I'm saying, brother?
Yes.
And so when you began, go ahead. And you
Yeah.
guys get the likes up. We got 82 people in the chat room. We got 103 likes. Get the likes up. But go ahead, bro.
You know, for me, I think my journey began to want to find contentment, find peace, was after I almost committed suicide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they put me in a institution, teenage institute, adolescent institution for troubled youth, emotionally troubled youth, and I was there with so many minority kids.
Yeah,
mostly Black and Latino, and I never forgot my time there. And you know, when you see others who are far off worse than you, it quickly snaps you out of whatever misery you feel you're in, or you're emotionally in. And I quickly realized that I'm troubled. I mean, at the time I was troubled, but at least I don't have these other kids' problems.
Yeah.
I'm just a kid that was really extremely missing my dad and wish he was here to guide me. And I quickly adapt. I don't know how to say, but I guess you say adapt to realize my situation. I guess I got my wake up call while I was in there. And I came home. I would say I was strong when I came home. I was still fragile, but I had the idea that I wanted to be stronger.
Yeah.
I wanted to be stronger. Yeah, go ahead.
And then also, I think, you know, having gone through that suicide attempt and then being put in that place, you realize, wow, there's some people here who are a lot worse off than I am.
Yeah.
And they're still in there. And then, you know, oftentimes, man, our pain is relative to our experience. Some people can have a splinter and they're like, oh my God, I'm dying. Oh my God. Some people can have a gunshot and literally get up and walk it off until they can get medical treatment. So, you know, it's the difference between having a headache and having, I would say, you know, contractions, you know, pregnancy contractions. You see what I'm saying? So when you went in there, you developed a different perspective on what you were dealing with, I think. You see?
Yes.
And that caused for you to see things differently. And that's kind of what the lesson is about here today, your perspective. If you're telling yourself, oh, what I went through was a tragedy. Oh, I was abused as a child. Oh, I grew up in a gang-infested neighborhood. Oh, my mother left me when I was a young boy. Oh, I was abandoned. If you're seeing that as an anchor that's holding you back, then you will suffer. But if I come along and tell you, no, I have a similar background to you, but I recognize that made me a cornerstone. That made me a leader of men because I understand them. I understand their perspective. I understand what they're going through. And so because of that, I've been put in a special place. I'm a cornerstone. I'm here to help build men. You see, with me as a cornerstone being the first one place. So you have to recognize that yourself. And if all these other Black men would recognize that for the most part, every last damn near down to a man, because we have to deal with all this stuff, we are God's chosen men. We are his cornerstones. And that is a privileged place to be. And when you begin to recognize that and you recognize that you're God's chosen as written in the word, then your perspective will change instantaneously. And it may not
get to where you need to be that first day. But as you begin to think about it and your perspective changes and you see things differently, you will start seeing that your life changes. That drug habit that you had will begin to subside. That alcohol, that overconsumption of food, that over-sexualization, that desire to always have material things, desire to show off and get attention, all that stuff will begin to subside because you'll realize, you know what, I have a purpose greater than myself. That's my thoughts on that. What do you think, Africa?
It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. It's not something that, you know, comes overnight. It's just like, you know, you building yourself up out of the situation you were in. It's a work in progress. Yeah. It's a constant falling and getting back up. Falling, getting back up over again. Because you know that staying down is the worst thing you can do for yourself. Yeah. You know, I always look at staying down is to keep harping on the things that happen to us, and to continue to just harp on that and let that be something that keeps you down. It's not something that's going to go away. It's not something that just evaporates. But after a while, the wound no longer becomes, you know, a gash or open sore or whatever. It becomes a scar. It heals and becomes a scar. It never goes away, but at least you've moved on past it. Yeah. At some point. And that's what I look for. At this point in my life right now, about to enter my 40s, I'm looking for contentment. I'm looking to be content with myself, my place in life. Just to figure out, just to find peace, because peace is, as we get older, peace is like it's better than sex. Mm-hmm. It's better than sex. It's better than a rainbow. Peace is just when you have that. Then what I mean by peace, you're just happy with yourself. It's a number place to be, and I've seen men like that. I've talked to men like that, and you know, I remember being so jealous, you know, of these older guys who found peace with their life, and they just look at, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you sit there like you're a young guy, you're like, so you're telling me for me to get to where you are, I got to continue living? Yeah. You know, I got to continue making mistakes. Yeah. And they looked at me like, yeah. He's like, you know.
Yeah. And oftentimes, you know, you got to separate yourself. And I talk about this in my books, Rules to Live By, How to Maintain Peace of Mind and Happiness in a Conflicted World. And one of the key tenets to finding peace is separating yourselves from the persons, places, things, and circumstances that interfere with your peace of mind and happiness. You guys can get those books on Amazon, or you can send me an email at spurlingdennis@gmail.com. But that's what these books are about. They're about helping you find peace, helping Black men specifically, all men, but because it's tailored to our story, it helps brothers find peace through the conflict that they're constantly having to deal with, whether it's gang violence, outside violence, domestic violence, family violence, abandonment issues, inadequacy issues, all the issues, racism. Those books are designed to help you Black men find peace. And I think that's why they've been selling so well, especially now that people are, you know, it's easy to get them. You can get them on Amazon, and you can email me at spurlingdennis@gmail.com. In addition, those of you who would like to have a one-on-one conference, you can email me at spurlingdennis@gmail.com. That's the email right there. I'd love to help you build. I've had several gentlemen here I've helped tremendously. Let's see, JJ Diesel, Cowboy Monk 79 says, my mother told me that I was a mistake. I told her I am not a mistake because God gave me purpose, whether she likes it or not. That's what I'm talking about. You hear me, brother? That you took your power back. You are not her child. You're God's child. You understand? You're here because God wants. If she had had her way, you wouldn't be here. You are here because God wants you to be here. And when you take that power away from those people, they don't have power of life and death over you. I hate to hear parents say, I gave you your life, I can take. No, you didn't. God gave me my life. And you don't owe, and I don't owe you my life. And you are not the giver of life. You just simply a vessel that I passed through to get here. God gave me my life. So shout out to you, JJ Diesel, Cowboy Monk, 79 Smith, for standing up for yourself and speaking that truth to your mother. And what a horrible woman to say that. Any mother who tells their child they were a mistake, you're a horrible mother. And you don't deserve to be called mother. You just are an individual. That's all you are. You are not even, if you tell your child that child didn't, that child was a mistake, that's a horrible thing to say. You're a horrible mother. You should beg that child for forgiveness every day until they forgive you. And even after that, thank them for forgiving you. That's a horrible thing to say. And someone needs to reprimand these women for saying whatever seems to come to their mind. That's horrible. But either way, thank you, Afro Patriarchy. Thank you, JJ Diesel, Cowboy Monk, for sharing that. Jaden, how you doing? Unmute yourself, Jaden. Got it. All right. I had to get him up out of there. Anyway,
I rebuke you.
Yeah, yeah, man. We get a few trolls every now and then, but that's why I block the screen before they can, do anything. If I don't recognize somebody, I'll get them up out of here. But either way, man, you guys have been great. I appreciate all the comments. The true children of God, yeah. And then Mr. Gilder said, yeah, it's something with the word saying that he giveth peace and past understanding. I never understand that when I read it many years ago. Yeah, that was nobody. Don't worry about them folks, man. But either way, you guys be blessed. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, man. This is we'll be back tomorrow. This is Uncle D, and I'm out.